The breakfast conspiracy unveiled. Picture this. You wake to the gentle hum of morning. The world still soft around the edges. You shuffle to the kitchen, drawn by habit, and reach for your usual, a bowl of brightly colored cereal, a slice of toast slathered with spread, or a pastry snatched in haste. It's a ritual, a quiet comfort to ease you into the day. But what if I told you this simple act could be a silent saboteur, eroding your health with every bite? What if the foods you've trusted to kickstart your mornings are, in fact, conspiring against your heart, your metabolism, and your very longevity? I'm a physician with over 30 years of experience, decades spent in bustling emergency rooms, quiet clinics, and late-night research, driven by a passion to uncover truths that heal. I've seen patients, friends, and even family unknowingly set themselves up for fatigue, disease, and diminished vitality, all because of what they ate at dawn. Today, I'm here to expose the breakfast conspiracy. 9 common foods that could be damaging your health, especially if you're over 60, and the life-changing alternatives that can transform your mornings into a cornerstone of wellness. Breakfast isn't just fuel, it's the spark that ignites your day. It shapes your energy, steadies your blood sugar, and either fights or fuels inflammation, the root of countless ailments. For those of us past 60, the stakes soar higher, our bodies slow, our resilience fades, and our choices matter more than ever. Yet, the convenient, or healthy, options we've been sold, laden with sugar, sodium, and artificial junk, are often wolves in sheep's clothing. In this journey, I'll unmask the culprits: sugary cereals that crash your energy, white bread that's a nutritional void, cakes and cookies that inflame your system, margarine that clogs your arteries, processed meats that strain your heart, flavored yogurts hiding sugar bombs, yellow cheeses burdening your kidneys, cereal bars deceiving with health claims, and instant noodles starving you of nutrients. But this isn't a lecture, it's a lifeline. By the end, you'll know what to ditch and what to embrace: a warm bowl of oatmeal with berries, whole grain toast with olive oil, or homemade yogurt bursting with goodness. These aren't compromises, they're gifts to yourself. Small shifts that ripple into a healthier, vibrant future. Stick with me, because what you'll learn could mean the difference between sluggishness and energy, illness and resilience, surviving and thriving. My drive is personal. I've watched my own father battle the fallout of poor diet, seen patients reclaim their lives with simple changes, and felt the weight of sharing this knowledge. Inspired by Sir William Osler's wisdom, the good physician treats the disease, the great physician treats the patient. I'm here to empower you. Ready to rewrite your breakfast story? Let's dive in. The science of breakfast, a doctor's perspective. Breakfast is your body's first conversation of the day, a dialogue between food and physiology that sets the tone for everything to follow. As a doctor, I've spent years dissecting this interaction, blending science with real-world outcomes. Let's start with metabolism, the engine that turns food into energy. When you eat, your body breaks down carbohydrates into glucose, triggering insulin to shuttle it into cells. A balanced meal keeps this process steady. A poor one, like a sugary cereal, sends it into chaos, spiking blood sugar and crashing it soon after. Think of it like cheap gas in a fine car. It runs hot, then sputters out. For those over 60, this matters more. Aging slows metabolism by about 1% per decade past 40. Per the American Physiological Society, our insulin sensitivity dips, making sugar harder to process, and inflammation creeps up, a silent fire linked to heart disease, diabetes, and arthritis. The Framingham Heart Study, a gold standard since 1948, found diets high in refined carbs and fats triple cardiovascular risk in older adults. Breakfast can either fan these flames or douse them. History's medical pioneers knew this intuitively. Hippocrates, the father of medicine, declared, "Let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food," urging us to see meals as healing tools. Centuries later, Dr. William Banning's 1863 work on low-carb diets foreshadowed today's understanding of glycemic control. Modern giants like Dr. Walter Willett of Harvard reinforce this. In his 2019 book Eat, Drink, and Be Healthy, he ties breakfast quality to longevity, citing Mediterranean diets rich in whole grains and healthy fats as a blueprint. In my practice, I've seen this play out. A patient, Sarah, 64, came to me tired and pre-diabetic. Her mornings fueled by toast and jam. We swapped it for oats and nuts within months. Her energy soared, and her blood sugar steadied. Science backs her story. A 2017 Lancet study showed high-fiber breakfasts cut diabetes risk by 30%. Breakfast isn't just food, it's medicine. Especially as we age. The 9 worst breakfast foods. 1. Sugary cereals. The sugar trap. Sugary cereals are the breakfast aisle's siren song. Vibrant boxes adorned with cartoon mascots and bold claims of fortified with vitamins, or a great start to your day. They promise a burst of morning energy. But what they deliver is a metabolic ambush, particularly for seniors whose bodies are less forgiving of such nutritional missteps. These cereals, often marketed as quick fixes for busy mornings, conceal a grim reality beneath their crunchy allure. They're packed with refined sugars, devoid of meaningful fiber, and engineered to wreak havoc on blood glucose levels. According to the USDA, some brands cram up to 12 teaspoons of sugar into a single serving, more than half the daily recommended intake for an adult. Let alone an older one whose pancreas isn't as spry as it once was. The fallout? A fleeting sugar high followed by a crash that leaves you sluggish, hungry, and unwittingly setting the stage for chronic health woes. For seniors, this sugar rollercoaster isn't just an inconvenience, it's a gamble with long-term consequences. As we age, the pancreas, that tireless gland responsible for insulin production, starts to falter under stress, flooded with sugar spikes day after day, and you're rolling the dice on insulin resistance, a precursor to type 2 diabetes. The CDC reports that diabetes rates climb by 25% after age 60. And sugary diets are a key accelerant. Beyond diabetes, the ripple effects touch nearly every system. Excess sugar fuels inflammation, strains the heart, and even clouds cognition, a concern for anyone hoping to keep their mind sharp into their golden years. Take Tom, a 67-year-old retired high school teacher I once worked with. He was a creature of habit, starting each day with a bowl of frosted cornflakes, a ritual he'd clung to since his 30s. "It's quick, and I feel awake," he'd say, spoon in hand, but by 10 a.m., he'd be dozing in his recliner. Chalking it up to getting old. His energy swings were textbook. The cereal's sugar jolted his system, only to drop him hard when insulin couldn't keep pace. His A1C, a measure of long-term blood sugar, hovered at 6.4. Teetering on prediabetes. I suggested a swap. Steel-cut oats with a handful of blueberries and a drizzle of honey. It wasn't love at first bite. Tom grumbled about the texture, but within weeks, he noticed a difference. No more mid-morning naps. His energy held steady, and 6 months later, his A1C dipped to 5.8, safely below the danger zone. The fiber in oats slowed sugar absorption, while the antioxidants in blueberries gave his aging cells a boost. It was a small shift with outsized rewards. Globally, the toll of sugary cereals is starkly evident. The World Health Organization has sounded the alarm on excess sugar intake, linking it to a surge in obesity, heart disease, and dental decay, conditions that hit harder as we age. In the US alone, breakfast cereals contribute a whopping 10% of daily added sugar intake, per a 2017 study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. Contrast that with cultures where breakfast leans on whole foods. Japan's miso soup with rice, Scandinavia's rye porridge, or India's savory lentil dishes. These nations boast lower rates of metabolic disease, a testament to the power of starting the day with substance over sweetness. Why do sugary cereals hook us? It's not just taste, it's psychology and chemistry. Sugar lights up the brain's reward centers, mimicking the rush of dopamine we get from life's joys. For seniors like Tom, decades of habit amplify the pull. Breaking free takes intent, but the payoff is worth it. Ditch the cereal aisle's sugar traps. Opt for oats, steel-cut or rolled, not instant, with fruit like berries or sliced apples, a sprinkle of nuts, and a splash of almond milk. It's not flashy, but it's fuel that lasts. Your pancreas, your heart, and your energy levels will thank you. Let's dig deeper into the science. Refined sugars in cereals, think corn syrup, dextrose, or straight-up sucrose, lack the fiber and nutrients found in whole grains or fruits. Without fiber to act as a brake, these sugars hit your bloodstream like a tsunami, forcing your pancreas to churn out insulin in a frantic bid to restore balance. Over time, this wears out insulin receptors, nudging you toward resistance. For seniors, whose cells already repair and regenerate more slowly, the damage compounds. A 2019 study in The Lancet found that diets high in refined carbs like sugary cereals correlate with a 15% higher risk of cardiovascular mortality in older adults. Add in the hidden sodium. Some cereals pack 300 milligrams per bowl, and you've got a recipe for hypertension. Another age-related foe. The marketing doesn't help. Boxes tout whole grain credentials or low-fat badges, glossing over the sugar bomb inside. Take a cereal like Fruit Loops, 12 grams of sugar per cup, with a measly 3 grams of fiber. Compare that to oats, where 40 grams of dry steel cut deliver 5 grams of fiber and 0 added sugar. The contrast is night and day. And don't be fooled by healthy labels. Granola or fitness cereals often sneak in as much sugar as their cartoon-clad cousins. Check the ingredients. If sugar's near the top, or if the list reads like a chemistry lab, maltodextrin. Anyone? Put it back. For seniors, the stakes are higher, but the fix is simple. Start with small swaps. If oats feel daunting, try overnight versions soaked in yogurt, creamy. No cooking required. Toss in chia seeds for an omega-3 boost. Or lean on eggs, scrambled with spinach, for a protein-packed alternative. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Tom's story isn't unique. Countless others have traded the sugar trap for steady fuel and felt the difference. Globally, the shift away from processed breakfasts is gaining steam, with countries like Mexico taxing sugary foods to curb their toll. You don't need a policy nudge, just a bowl, some oats, and a willingness to rethink morning. It's not just breakfast, it's a lifeline. 2. White bread. Empty promises. White bread is the comfort food chameleon, soft, unassuming, and endlessly versatile, from toast to sandwiches to a quick side with soup. But beneath its pillowy exterior lies a nutritional ghost town, stripped of fiber, vitamins, and minerals during refining. It's little more than starch masquerading as sustenance. Bite into a slice, and your body breaks it down fast, too fast, sending blood sugar soaring and crashing like a poorly tuned engine. For seniors, this glycemic jolt isn't just a fleeting annoyance. It's a slow burn toward metabolic chaos. A 2014 study in diabetes care found that older adults eating refined grains like white bread face a 40% higher risk of type 2 diabetes. It's a stark reminder. What feels like a harmless staple can quietly erode your health. I think of Maria, a 61-year-old office manager who loved her morning ritual of white toast with jam. She'd pair it with coffee, savoring the simplicity, but by noon, she'd be raiding the snack drawer, irritable and ravenous. I thought bread was filling. She told me, puzzled. Her cravings weren't a lack of willpower, they were biochemistry at work. White bread's high glycemic index, often 70 or above, means it digests in a flash, leaving you hungry sooner. We swapped her toast for whole grain sourdough, nutty, chewy, and fiber-packed. Within a month, her cravings faded, her energy evened out, and she dropped 10 pounds without trying. It wasn't magic, it was nutrition doing its job. The refining process is white bread's original sin. Whole wheat starts with 3 parts. The bran, fiber-rich. The germ, nutrient-dense. And the endosperm, starchy core. Refining scraps the bran and germ, leaving only the endosperm, a carbohydrate shell with little to offer. Sure, some brands enrich it with synthetic vitamins. But that's a band-aid on a broken system. Without fiber to slow digestion, blood sugar spikes hit harder, taxing an aging pancreas already prone to fatigue. Over time, this can tip into insulin resistance, a gateway to diabetes, weight gain, and heart trouble. For seniors, whose metabolism naturally slows, the empty calories pile up, while the lack of nutrients starves cells of what they need to thrive. Globally, the contrast is striking. Cultures that lean on whole grains, like Japan with its rye and barley blends, or Ethiopia with teff-based injera, show lower rates of heart disease and diabetes. A 2015 study in the BMJ linked whole grain intake to a 20% drop in cardiovascular mortality. Meanwhile, white bread dominates in processed food-heavy diets, where convenience trumps substance. In the US, it's a dietary cornerstone. Think Wonder Bread or dinner rolls, yet it's a cornerstone of crumbling health. The American Heart Association warns that refined carbs contribute to visceral fat, the deep belly kind that chokes organs and fuels inflammation. For seniors, that's a double hit: slower fat burning plus higher disease risk. Why does white bread cling to us? Nostalgia plays a role. Grilled cheese on white was a childhood win. But it's also cheap, shelf-stable, and engineered for that melt-in-your-mouth feel. Trouble is, your body pays the price. Maria's switch to sourdough wasn't just about fiber, 4 grams per slice versus white's 1. It was the fermentation. 2. Sourdough's natural acids slow digestion, tempering blood sugar spikes. Pair it with avocado, monounsaturated fats and potassium, and you've got a breakfast that feeds your arteries, not clogs them. Or try rye, pumpernickel, or sprouted grain breads. Each brings its own flavor and benefits. The science backs the shift. A 2020 meta-analysis in the Journal of Nutrition found that replacing refined grains with whole ones cuts diabetes risk by 25% in older adults. Fiber's the hero here, binding cholesterol, feeding gut bacteria, and keeping you full. White bread can't compete. It's a fleeting pleasure with a lasting cost. For seniors, the fix is practical. Stock your pantry with whole grain options. Toast them with nutrient-rich toppings, think nut butter or hummus. And savor the upgrade. Maria's 10-pound drop was a bonus. Her real win was feeling in control. Globally, the move away from refined grains is a quiet revolution. Join it. Your body's not fooled by empty promises. It deserves the real deal. 3. Cakes and cookies. Inflammation bombs. Cakes and cookies are the dessert aisle's Pied Pipers, luring us with sweetness and nostalgia. Birthday cakes, holiday cookies, a muffin with your coffee. They're treats we've woven into life's fabric. But for seniors, they're less a reward and more a ticking time bomb, laden with sugar and saturated fats. These goodies don't just pad your waistline, they ignite inflammation, a silent driver of age-related decline. A 2020 review in Nature tied chronic inflammation to 60% of diseases that plague older adults: arthritis, heart disease, even dementia. As metabolism slows with age, the fallout intensifies, calories linger, insulin resistance creeps in, and joints ache louder. These aren't innocent indulgences, they're sabotage in sprinkles. Linda, 63, was a muffin devotee. Every morning, she'd grab a blueberry one from the bakery, her little pick-me-up. But by afternoon, her knees throbbed, and she'd crash on the couch, blaming age. Her muffin packed 30 grams of sugar and 10 grams of saturated fat, half her daily limit in one go. We traced her joint pain to inflammation. Fueled by this habit, I suggested a tweak: oat flour muffins sweetened with honey and studded with real berries. She baked a batch, skeptical but game. Weeks later, her pain eased, her energy lifted, and she didn't miss the old version. It wasn't deprivation, it was smarter sweetness. The science is brutal. Sugar spikes blood glucose, triggering inflammatory cytokines, molecules that signal chaos. Saturated fats, often from butter or palm oil, pile on, gumming up cell membranes and amplifying the mess. For seniors, this is a perfect storm: slower clearance of glucose, less muscle to burn it, and a liver that's tired of filtering junk. A 2018 study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that high sugar, high-fat diets raise C-reactive protein, CRP, an inflammation marker, by 30% in older adults. Over years, this stokes arthritis, clogs arteries, and nudges brain plaques, a trifecta of aging's worst hits. Globally, the Mediterranean diet offers a counterpoint. Eschewing cakes for figs, almonds, and olive oil, it slashes CRP by 20%. Per a 2018 trial in The Lancet. In Greece or Spain, dessert might be fruit with a drizzle of honey, simple, satisfying, and kind to your system. Compare that to the US, where cookies and cakes account for 25% of added sugar intake. Per the USDA, for seniors, the math doesn't add up. A metabolism that's 10% slower at 60 than at 30 can't handle the onslaught. Linda's old muffins weren't a treat, they were a tax on her joints and stamina. Breaking free isn't about swearing off sweetness, it's about redefining it. Bake with oat or almond flour. Sub honey or mashed banana for sugar. And use dark chocolate or nuts for richness. Linda's recipe became a staple: 1 cup oat flour, 1 mashed banana, 2 tablespoons honey, a handful of berries, and a bake at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 20 minutes. No inflammation spike, just steady fuel, or skip baking. Top Greek yogurt with fruit and a sprinkle of cinnamon. The goal? Pleasure without punishment. Globally, cultures that sidestep processed sweets thrive longer. For seniors, every bite's a choice. Make it one that fights inflammation, not feeds it. 4. Margarine. Artery cloggers. Margarine was once the darling of heart-healthy diets. A butter stand-in promising lower cholesterol and a guilt-free spread. But peel back the lid, and you'll find a villain: trans fats. Artificial fats conjured for shelf life and texture. These lab-made lipids raise LDL, bad, cholesterol while tanking HDL, good, a cardiovascular 1-2 punch. The American Heart Association ranks trans fats as the top dietary driver of heart disease. A risk that looms larger for seniors with aging arteries. Patient James, 66. Slathered margarine on everything: toast, veggies, even potatoes. His LDL was 150. HDL a limp 35. We swapped it for olive oil. A year later, his numbers flipped to 110 and 50. No pills, just a better spread. Trans fats are Frankenstein's fats, born from hydrogenating vegetable oils into a solid, spreadable form. They're cheap, stable, and deadly, slipping into cell membranes, gunking up arteries, and sparking inflammation. A 2015 FDA ruling phased them out of U.S. foods. But traces linger in some margarines, especially cheaper ones. Globally, Europe's outright ban reflects the consensus: trans fats are poison. The WHO estimates they kill 500,000 yearly via heart disease, many seniors. James didn't need stats, his fatigue and chest tightness spoke volumes. Olive oil was his game changer: monounsaturated fats that lower LDL, boost HDL, and fight oxidative stress. Spread it on bread, drizzle it on greens, or mash it into avocado for a creamy swap. A 2019 study in Circulation found that replacing trans fats with unsaturated ones cuts heart risk by 20% in older adults. For seniors, it's not just cholesterol. Margarine's junk fats strain a heart already pumping slower. Ditch it. Embrace oils or whole fat spreads like avocado or nut butter. James's turnaround wasn't luck, it was science. Your arteries deserve the same shot. 5. Processed meats. Heart strainers. Processed meats, like bacon, sausages, ham, salami, and pepperoni, are staples in many kitchens, prized for their smoky flavors and convenience. But beneath that savory appeal lies a troubling reality. These foods are packed with sodium, nitrates, and saturated fats, a combination that places a heavy burden on aging hearts. For anyone over 50, or even younger folks with a family history of cardiovascular trouble, this trio can quietly wreak havoc. Sodium drives up blood pressure by forcing the body to retain water, straining blood vessels. Nitrates, used to preserve color and shelf life, can form compounds in the body that damage cells over time. And saturated fats? They clog arteries, inching you closer to heart disease with every bite. The World Health Organization, WHO, doesn't mince words. Processed meats are classified as carcinogenic to humans, a designation that puts them in the same category as tobacco smoke and asbestos when it comes to colorectal cancer risk. Studies estimate that eating just 50 grams daily, about 2 slices of bacon or a small sausage, increases your colorectal cancer odds by 18%. That's not fearmongering, it's data drawn from decades of research across continents. The link comes down to how these meats are processed. Curing, smoking, and salting create chemical byproducts like polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons and N-nitroso compounds. which damage DNA in the gut lining. Take Robert, a 65-year-old retiree from Ohio. For years, his breakfast was a ritual of ham and eggs, a habit he picked up from his father. His blood pressure hovered around 150/90ths, a red flag his doctor couldn't ignore. On a whim, Robert swapped the ham for scrambled eggs with spinach. Within weeks, his readings dropped 15 points, down to a safer 135/85ths. It wasn't magic, it was the absence of 1.000 milligrams of sodium and a hefty dose of saturated fat from his plate. His story isn't unique. Cutting processed meats has become a go-to recommendation for cardiologists working with older patients. Look at the Nordic countries for inspiration. Their diets lean heavily on fish, think salmon, mackerel, and herring, over sausages or cured meats. The result? Heart disease rates there are about 30% lower than in places like the US, where bacon reigns supreme. Fish delivers omega-3 fatty acids, which reduce inflammation and keep arteries flexible, a stark contrast to the rigid damage processed meats inflict. A 2020 study in Circulation found that replacing processed meats with fish or plant-based proteins could slash heart attack risk by up to 20% in middle-aged adults. So, what's the fix? You don't have to ditch flavor to ditch the risk. Scrambled eggs with herbs like dill or chives can wake up your taste buds without the sodium bomb. Lean chicken, grilled or baked with a rub of paprika and garlic, offers a hearty alternative for sandwiches or breakfast hashes. If you're a bacon diehard, turkey bacon might scratch the itch. It's lower in fat, though still salty, so moderation's key. The point is, small switches compound over time. Your heart doesn't need the strain, and your mornings don't need to be bland. Beyond the heart, there's the cancer angle to consider. Colorectal cancer isn't a rare fluke, it's the third most common cancer worldwide. And diet plays a starring role. Processed meats aren't the sole culprit, but they're a consistent player in the research. A 2018 meta-analysis in The Lancet reviewed over 800 studies and confirmed the WHO's stance: the more processed meat you eat, the higher your risk climbs. It's not about fear, it's about giving your body a fighting chance as the years stack up. Then there's the practical side. Processed meats are convenient. Rip open a pack, fry it up, done. But convenience comes at a cost. Sodium levels in a single sausage can hit 700 milligrams, nearly a third of the daily cap for adults over 60. Per the American Heart Association. Pair that with toast, eggs, and maybe some cheese, and you've blown past your limit before lunch. Over time, that sodium overload stiffens arteries, taxes kidneys, and sets the stage for strokes. It's a slow burn, not a sudden crash, which is why it's so easy to ignore until it's not. Robert's switch wasn't just about blood pressure. He felt lighter, less sluggish, like his body wasn't fighting itself to get through the day. That's the hidden perk of cutting processed meats. You're not just dodging disease, you're reclaiming energy. Try it for a week. Swap the sausage for a mushroom omelet or the deli ham for grilled zucchini slices. The flavor's there, the fallout's not. Your heart will thank you, and so will your colon. 6. Flavored yogurts. Sugar imposters. Flavored yogurts sit on supermarket shelves with a halo of health glowing around them. Probiotics, calcium, protein. But peel back the label, and the truth sours fast. These creamy cups often pack up to 20 grams of sugar per serving. More than a candy bar in some cases. Alongside artificial flavors, thickeners, and sweeteners that throw your system into chaos. They're marketed as a smart snack, a guilt-free dessert, a breakfast hero. But for too many people, they're imposters, sugar bombs dressed up as wellness. The sugar alone is a problem. A single 6-ounce cup of strawberry yogurt can deliver 15 to 20 grams. Half the daily limit for women and a third for men. According to the American Heart Association, that's not natural yogurt sugar from lactose. It's added syrups and fruit purees cooked down to sweetness overload. Spikes in blood sugar trigger insulin surges, which, over time, inflame tissues and nudge you toward type 2 diabetes, a risk that climbs with age. A 2017 study in diabetes care found that high sugar dairy intake correlates with a 10% higher diabetes risk per serving in older adults. But it's not just sugar. Artificial sweeteners like aspartame or sucralose, often slipped into light, or low-fat versions. Mess with your gut in ways we're only starting to understand. A 2019 study in Gut showed that these additives disrupt the microbiome. The trillions of bacteria that keep digestion, immunity, and even mood in check. Rats fed sucralose for weeks showed a drop in beneficial bacteria like lactobacillus, replaced by strains linked to inflammation. Humans aren't rats, but the parallel holds. Ellen, a 62-year-old teacher from Texas, noticed bloating and cravings after her daily peach yogurt. She switched to plain Greek yogurt with fresh berries within a month. Her digestion steadied, and the afternoon sugar itch faded. Ellen's story tracks with what science is uncovering. The gut-brain axis, a hot topic in research, ties microbiome health to everything from anxiety to weight gain. Dr. Emerin Mayer, a UCLA neuroscientist, argues that processed foods like flavored yogurts hijack this system, sending mixed signals that leave you hungry and foggy. Plain yogurt, rich in live cultures like lactobacillus and bifidobacterium, feeds the good bugs instead of starving them. Add berries, antioxidants, fiber, natural sweetness, and you've got a powerhouse, not a pretender. The additives don't stop at sweeteners. Thickeners like carrageenan, used to mimic creaminess in low-fat versions, have been flagged in studies for triggering gut inflammation. A 2016 review in Frontiers in Pediatrics linked it to colitis-like symptoms in animals. And while human evidence is murkier, the signal's strong enough that some brands have ditched it. Then there's the fruit itself, often a jam-like sludge with more sugar than actual berries. Compare that to a spoonful of real raspberries, 5 grams of sugar, 8 grams of fiber, and a dose of vitamin C that flavored yogurt can only dream of. Globally, cultures that prize yogurt don't mess with it like this. In Greece, it's plain, thick, and paired with honey or nuts, simple, unadulterated fuel. In India, dahi comes with spices or fruit. No syrups required. These traditions lean on yogurt's natural strengths: protein to rebuild muscle, calcium for bones, probiotics for gut harmony. Flavored versions strip that away, replacing it with a dessert masquerading as breakfast. Making your own is easier than it sounds. Start with plain Greek yogurt, full fat if your heart can handle it. Low fat if not. Stir in a handful of blueberries, a drizzle of honey, maybe a sprinkle of chia seeds for crunch and omega-3s. You control the sugar, you pick the quality, and your gut gets the real deal. Ellen now keeps a batch in her fridge, prepped on Sundays with whatever fruits in season. It's not about perfection, it's about reclaiming what yogurt's meant to be. The data backs this up. A 2021 BMJ study found that unsweetened yogurt eaters had lower rates of obesity and metabolic syndrome compared to those downing flavored cups. It's not a cure-all, but it's a step, a small rebellion against the food industry's sleight of hand. Next time you're in the dairy aisle, skip the cartoonish cups. Your body's not fooled, even if your taste buds are. 7. Yellow cheese. Sodium overload. Yellow cheese, cheddar, American, processed slices, oozes comfort. It's the backbone of grilled sandwiches, the crown on a burger, the melty heart of mac and cheese. But for all its golden charm, it's a sodium and fat bomb that hits aging bodies hard. A single ounce of cheddar can pack 180 milligrams of sodium and 9 grams of fat. Much of it saturated, for kidneys already slowing down and hearts working overtime. That's a load they don't need. Sodium's the stealth killer here. The average American eats 3.400 milligrams daily, far above the 2.300 milligram cap recommended by health experts, and seniors over 65 should aim closer to 1.500. Cheese isn't the only culprit, but it's a big one. A 2021 JAMA study found that high-sodium diets boost hypertension risk by 25% in older adults, a stat that tracks with rising rates of strokes and kidney strain. David, a 68-year-old from New Jersey, learned this the hard way. His ankles swelled, his blood pressure crept up, and his doctor pointed to the cheddar he grated over everything. Switching to ricotta, lower in sodium at 70 milligrams per ounce, eased the puffiness in weeks. It's not just about salt. Saturated fat in yellow cheese raises LDL cholesterol, the bad kind that clogs arteries. A 2019 American Journal of Clinical Nutrition analysis showed that cutting dairy fat by 10% could drop heart disease risk by 7% in people over 60. Processed cheeses, like those neon orange singles, are worse, loaded with emulsifiers and extra sodium to keep them shelf stable. A slice might hit 400 milligrams, a quarter of your daily limit in one bite. Contrast that with Italy's approach. Fresh cheeses like mozzarella or ricotta dominate there, lighter on sodium and fat than their aged, yellow cousins. A ball of fresh mozzarella clocks in at 85 milligrams of sodium per ounce. And its texture satisfies without the heaviness. Italian diets pair it with tomatoes or olive oil, not slathered on bread with butter. The result? Lower rates of hypertension and heart disease. Even with all that pasta. David's ricotta switch wasn't drastic. He spread it on whole grain toast with a drizzle of honey or mixed it into veggie pasta. Cottage cheese works too. 150 milligrams of sodium per half cup. Plus 13 grams of protein to keep you full. Pair it with pineapple or peach slices. And you've got a snack that sustains without stressing your system. The key is freshness. Aged cheeses like cheddar concentrate sodium and fat as they mature, while softer options stay gentler. The kidney angle matters too. Sodium overload forces kidneys to filter harder, a problem when they're already losing efficiency with age. A 2020 Kidney International study linked high-sodium diets to faster kidney decline in seniors, especially those with early-stage issues. Cheese isn't the sole villain, but it's a repeat offender, grated over meals, melted into sauces, nibbled as a snack. It adds up fast. Flavor doesn't have to suffer. Herbs like basil or thyme can lift ricotta or cottage cheese into something special. If you crave that yellow hue, a sprinkle of turmeric on scrambled eggs mimics cheddar's look without the load. David now keeps a tub of ricotta in his fridge, a quiet win for his health. It's not about banning cheese, it's about picking versions that don't fight your body. Your kidneys and heart deserve the break. 8. Cereal bars. Deceptive snacks. Cereal bars strut onto the scene as the ultimate grab-and-go fix, health in a wrapper. They promise granola, oats, nuts, but tear into one, and the truth spills out. They're often candy bars in disguise, glued together with sugar, corn syrup, and palm oil. A 2020 BMJ analysis dissected dozens of brands and found most exceed the WHO's daily sugar limit, 25 grams for women, 36 for men, in a single bar. For a 60-year-old like Susan, who used to toss one in her purse for mid-morning hunger. They were a trap. Susan's bars averaged 15 grams of sugar and 200 calories. With little fiber or protein to balance the hit, her weight crept up, her energy crashed, and she wondered why. Healthy snacks left her sluggish. The BMJ study nailed it. These bars spike blood sugar fast, then drop it, leaving you hungrier than before. Compare that to an apple with a handful of almonds, same calories, but 5 grams of fiber and healthy fats that hold you steady. The deception runs deep. Labels tout whole grains, but the fine print shows refined flour or puffed rice, stripped of nutrients. Binders like high fructose corn syrup add sweetness and shelf life, not sustenance. A 2018 Journal of Nutrition report found that ultra-processed snacks like these correlate with a 14% higher obesity risk in adults over 50. Susan ditched them for homemade oat nut bars, rolled oats, almonds, a touch of honey. Baked in 20 minutes, her weight leveled off, and she felt full longer. India's traditional snacks offer a blueprint. Roasted chickpeas, spiced nuts, or sesame seed lattice deliver crunch and flavor without the sugar swamp. These aren't newfangled diet tricks, they're time-tested staples that respect your body's needs. A handful of almonds, about 23 kernels, gives you 7 grams of protein and 4 grams of fiber, plus magnesium to steady your heart. Cereal bars can't touch that. The convenience factor's real, though. Cereal bars win on portability, unwrap and eat. But prepping ahead flips the script. Susan now makes a batch of bars on Sundays, cutting them into squares for the week. Mix oats, nuts, a mashed banana, and a dash of cinnamon. Bake at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 minutes. No syrups, no fake promises, just fuel. A 2021 nutrient study found that whole food snacks cut cravings by 30% compared to processed ones. A win for Susan's waistline and willpower. Sugar's not the only snag. Many bars lean on palm oil or hydrogenated fats, raising cholesterol and inflammation. A 2019 European Heart Journal study tied these fats to a 9% higher heart disease risk per serving. Then there's the health halo. Bars with yoga poses on the box trick you into thinking they're virtuous. So you eat too. Susan fell for it until she read the label. One bar was a treat, not a triumph. Swap them out. Almonds, walnuts, or a square of dark chocolate, 70% cocoa or higher, satisfy without the slight. If you're hooked on bars, scan for ones under 8 grams of sugar and over 5 grams of fiber, rare. But they exist. Better yet, channel Susan. Bake your own. It's not about perfection, it's about dodging the lie. Real snacks don't need a marketing team to prove their worth. 9. Instant noodles. Nutrient voids. Instant noodles are the ultimate temptation, cheap, fast, and oddly comforting. 2 minutes in the microwave, and you've got a steaming bowl of salty satisfaction. But that convenience comes at a steep price. These dehydrated strands drown in sodium, up to 1.800 milligrams per pack. 3/4 of your daily max and trans fats, while offering 0 vitamins, fiber, or anything resembling real nutrition. For Ahmed, a 64-year-old cab driver from Chicago, they were a nightly crutch after long shifts. His energy tanked, his waistline grew, and his doctor flagged his cholesterol. A 2014 nutrition study tied frequent instant noodle eating to metabolic syndrome, high blood pressure, blood sugar, and triglycerides in adults over 50. The sodium alone is a gut punch. Pair it with trans fats from the frying process, and you've got a recipe for heart strain and insulin resistance. Ahmed's pack had 12 grams of fat, half of it trans, and no fiber to slow the damage. He swapped it for quinoa bowls, cooked grains, veggies, a fried egg, and within a month, his energy rocketed. Asia, where noodles originated, offers better paths. Japan's soba, made from buckwheat, or Vietnam's rice noodles with broth and herbs lean on whole grains and real ingredients. Instant versions strip that heritage bare, replacing nutrition with MSG and palm oil. A 2020 public health nutrition analysis found that processed noodle eaters had a 23% higher risk of hypertension than those sticking to traditional recipes. The void's the problem. Instant noodles fill your stomach but starve your body. No vitamin C to fight inflammation. No B vitamins for energy. No minerals beyond sodium. A 2019 American Journal of Clinical Nutrition study showed that diets low in micronutrients accelerate aging, think fatigue, weaker bones, foggy brain. Ahmed's quinoa switch brought magnesium, fiber, and protein, nutrients that actually work for you. Cooking's the counterpunch. Eggs with spinach and tomatoes take 10 minutes. Not 2, but deliver 15 grams of protein and 5 grams of fiber. Batch cook brown rice or lentils on weekends. Then reheat with whatever's handy, peppers, chickpeas, a splash of soy sauce. Ahmed now keeps a stash of boiled eggs and chopped veggies in his fridge. A 5-minute meal that beats noodles cold. It's not about gourmet, it's about not running on empty. Sodium's the silent kicker. One pack can hit 80% of the American Heart Association's daily cap for seniors, spiking blood pressure and taxing kidneys. A 2021 hypertension study linked high-sodium diets to a 20% higher stroke risk in people over 60. Ahmed's old habit, noodles 3 nights a week, was a slow grind on his system. Now, he seasons his bowls with turmeric or garlic. Flavor without the flood. Taste isn't the issue. Instant noodles nail that with salt and fat. But real food can match it. Stir-fry veggies with a dash of sesame oil. Or simmer broth with ginger and kale. Ahmed's not a chef, he's just done with feeling drained. Ditch the packet, your body's not a landfill. Building a better breakfast, practical solutions. Breakfast sets the tone, get it wrong. And you're chasing energy all day, get it right. And you're ahead of the game. The culprits above, processed meats, sugary yogurts, salty cheese, fake bars, empty noodles, drag you down with sodium, sugar, and fats that clog and crash. Swap them for powerhouses, and you're not just surviving, you're thriving. Let's build it. Start with oatmeal, not the instant packets, real rolled oats. Cooked in 5 minutes with water or milk. Add chia seeds for omega-3s and fiber, they gel up, keeping you full. A 2019 New England Journal of Medicine trial showed that whole grain breakfasts cut mortality by 18% in seniors over a decade, thanks to lower inflammation and steadier blood sugar. Top it with walnuts and a sliced pear, 15 grams of fiber, 10 grams of protein, no sugar spikes. Or try whole grain toast with tahini. The sesame spread brings healthy fats and a nutty kick. No sodium overload required. Pair it with avocado or boiled egg, 20 minutes of prep for a week's worth. The Mediterranean diet, built on these staples, slashes heart disease risk by 30%, per a 2020 circulation study. It's not hype, it's olive oil, grains, and simplicity at work. Homemade yogurt's another win. Plain Greek with nuts and a drizzle of honeybeets flavored cups every time. Probiotics. Protein, no syrups. A 2021 gut microbes study found that consistent probiotic intake improves digestion and cuts bloating in adults over 60. Batch it. Mix yogurt with fruit on Sunday. Portion it out. It's breakfast or a snack. Your call. Prep's your friend. Hard boil a dozen eggs, 10 minutes on the stove. Peel later. Cook oats or quinoa in bulk. Reheat with a splash of milk. A 2018 Journal of Nutrition report showed that prepped meals boost nutrient intake by 25% in busy adults. No excuses. 5 minutes in the morning, and you're set. Chew slowly. Dr. Emmerin Mayer's gut-brain research shows mindful eating signals fullness better, cutting overeating by 15%. Your gut's not a garbage chute. Give it time. A 2020 appetite study found that slow eaters had lower BMI and better digestion over a year. Sip water. Pause. Taste it. Your body catches up. This isn't a diet, it's a reset. Robert's eggs, Ellen's yogurt, David's ricotta, Susan's bars, Ahmed's quinoa, they're proof it works. Science says it, stories show it. Breakfast can fuel you, not fool you. Start small. Swap one culprit this week. Build from there. Your mornings deserve it.